What is up, everybody? This is your boy Is Nefarious, and I am here with another edition of the Premier Madden League Fantasy Report. And for those of you that are first-time viewers of the Fantasy Report, the Fantasy Report in the Premier Madden League is all stat based on the Premier Madden League. So what that means is we run a fantasy league within our Madden league, and all the stats that you are going to see on this episode and on other episodes are based on the stats that happen in the week for our league. So this is all video game based. It's not really NFL stat wise. It's just NFL players in a video game. But let's dive right into it. First, we're going to start out our fantasy pick'em results. As you could see, Fallen 2244, the known to be best fantasy pick'em player, uh, pretty much in the league so far. We haven't had other users try. Hopefully, other users come in and try to knock him down. But he's won the most out of everybody. I think I'm second, and then I'm not quite sure who's third. But Fallen wins this one again, 149.56. I came in second with 146.4. Bacon came in third, the Jets user, with 131.72. So Fallen, actually, it's crazy how he won. So I was doing the numbers, and I was pretty much in the lead all the way down. And once I got to kickers, I got a three from Fairbane out in Houston. He picked Eddie Pinheiro, and Eddie had 20 points. So he got 20 points from his kicker. I got three, and that turned it the other way around and gave Fallen the win. So it was crazy how that happened. I was like, oh, I got this in the bag. I'm going to get the win this week. And then out of nowhere, that happened to me. So let's take a look at his full team now. So we got Fallen's team here. He had 149.56, like I said. He had 16.36 from his quarterback, Bryce Perkins. He keeps rolling with Bryce Perkins. Rolled with him last week, rolling with him this week. He has another good game. He also went with Saquon Barkley out of New York. Saquon had 25.3 points. He rolled with Tariq Cohen as his running back too. He had 23.3 points. And then AJ Green was his wide receiver one. That Bryce Perkins, AJ Green tandem that he likes to roll with and AJ Green had 9.2 points. Tyreek Hill was a 0. I also had Tyreek Hill, so maybe if I picked somebody else, I would have ended up on top. But Tyreek Hill, it's kind of confusing why he was a 0. I don't know if he got injured during the game, maybe on the first play, maybe he didn't. Maybe he just got ISO'd out by Stephon Gilmore and pretty much wasn't a factor. Maybe he double covered him, tried to throw his way and didn't really complete a pass. But he had a flat 0 for both me and Fallen. So if I would have picked somebody else, I probably would have won that. His tight end was O.J. Howard from the New York Jets. He had 16.5 points. Then he had Ito Smith as his flex. He had 10.9. And then, as I said before, his kicker, Eddie Pinheiro, had 20 points to my 3. And that's where it took off on me. So 20 points from a kicker. Crazy, crazy game. Really surprised at that number. Then you look at his defense. He had the Chicago Bears, who had 28 points as well. So, he goes with that Chicago Bears tandem. Well, he usually goes with the three: Tariq Cohen, Eddie Pinheiro, and then the Bears defense. It's an easy play to play the Bears defense. Week to week, they'll have a solid week. Some weeks they won't be as high scoring, but they're never really going to be low scoring because they're a defense that always limits points and forces a lot of turnovers plus sacks. So solid play week to week. Maybe I should have went with them, and maybe I would have had a chance there. I went with the Washington Redskins, I believe, and they had 16 or 18 points. So that was another point swing that didn't go my way when it came to the kicker and the defense. So congrats to Fallen. He's gonna get a +1 for one of his players to use. Um, and that's 2 weeks in a row for him. Let's move on to the team of the week. So we got the quarterback of the week, which is going to be Daniel Jones from the New York Giants. Daniel Jones threw for 355 yards for 14.2 points, had four passing touchdowns for 16 points, one interception for -2 points, -1 rushing yards for -0.1 points. He had a total of 28.1 points, so a good week from a quarterback. Didn't break that 30-point barrier, but I could see Daniel Jones taking off this year and following years. It seems like the Giants user natural is going to start uh, releasing him a little more, or being less uptight, if that's the correct word. When it comes to his gameplay, he's gonna let it fly a little bit, and you could see Daniel Jones on the team of the week multiple weeks. So I would keep an eye out for that. Maybe that's somebody that teams will want to use for the pick 'em week to week. But Daniel Jones, quarterback of the week for week 3. Let's jump into the running back of the week, and we got a newcomer and pretty much somebody that's getting touches because the starter and on Johnson in Detroit is injured. So Ty Johnson steps in and he is on the team of the week this week. He had 178 yards for 17.8 points, two rushing touchdowns for 12 points, one reception for 1 point, 66 receiving yards for 6.6 points, and then a receiving touchdown for 43.3 points. So a really good week from him. Really making a case to, keep that starting position when on Johnson comes back. I mean, it's not a big difference in on and Ty, both named Johnson, but if you're the Lions, you really got to think about it because he's been performing really well the last couple of weeks ever since the on injury. So he's gonna have a dilemma on his hands when on comes back. Maybe he moves him. Maybe he just uses him as a backup. We'll see exactly what the Lions do later on. But congrats to Ty Johnson on making the team of the week for the first time. You take a look at the wide receiver of the week. We got DeAndre Hopkins, first time on the team of the week. I believe in both seasons. He wasn't on it last season, and so far this season he hasn't hit it until now. So congrats to DeAndre Hopkins on making a list. He had 6 receptions for 6 points, 159 receiving yards for 15.9 points, two receiving touchdowns for 12 points for a grand total of 33.9 points. So a solid week from him. Maybe he's figured out how to use them more. Um, it's kind of the same situation in Houston with DeAndre Hopkins as me with Michael Thomas. You haven't seen Michael Thomas on this list. I just haven't figured out how to use him. Just like most people, well, most users in my category really haven't figured out to use their star players. You don't see that problem with the top tier users in the league, and maybe the Houston Texans have found a way to use DeAndre Hopkins. Hopefully they do because that's going to be a key to their offense. You take a look at the tight end of the week, and we got Evan Ingram, um, a pretty much a regular face on the team of the week last season. He is on the team of the week this season for the first time in week 3. He had 5 receptions for 5 points, 113 yards for 11.3 points, and then one receiving touchdown for 6 points. So he had a grand total of 22.3 points. So you look at Evan Ingram, he's very athletic. It's no surprise that he's on the list, and he's got a good user using him. So, Natural really knows how to take advantage of his speed and his athleticism against linebackers and really puts him in the best place to succeed. So, you're going to see Evan Ingram on the list multiple times a season. I have no doubts about that. I think the biggest surprise, if I'm remembering correctly, I don't think Saquon Barkley's been on the team of the week. Maybe once last season. I'm surprised he's not on here regularly, like Tariq Cohen and others, Devontae Freeman and people like that. So Evan Ingram, though, is going to be a familiar face every season. Really enjoy that player. Really athletic. Wish I had him. Lord knows I wouldn't know what to do in my game plan to really succeed like the Giants have. But congrats to him on making a list. Let's jump into the defense of the week, and we got the Chicago Bears defense. They only allowed 10 points for 4 points. Had 4 sacks for 4 points. Had 7 turnovers for 14 points, and then had one defensive touchdown for 6 points for a grand total of 28 points. I mean, the Colts, um, there's not much to say. I mean, he played them in the Super Bowl and got destroyed. I don't think he even scored in that game. Played him in a regular season. I have a feeling that Mole, the Chicago Bears user, wasn't really at his A game. Uh, kind of took it as a easier game, like playing somebody in the middle of the pack in the league, and he pretty much did the same thing as he did last season. He forced 7 turnovers, so I mean it's tough to compete with that when it comes to the team of the week in the defense. Seven turnovers is a lot. I believe last week the Raiders had 9 against the Broncos. I think this is pretty close, 7. So congrats to the Chicago Bears, and really disappointed in the Colts. Thought they would have a better showing this time. That's kind of why I didn't go with the Bears defense. Let's jump into the pick'ems. So for those of you that are new and watched before, the pick'em is every week I'll look into the next week and pick the top 3 in each position that I think is going to succeed the following week. So I'm going to start with the quarterbacks. First, we have Bryce Perkins. I'm going to ride the hot hand here. Bryce Perkins leads the league in passing yards, or actually he's second in passing yards. He um, he has one of the best ratings in the league. He's top 5 in touchdowns. I mean, you can't go wrong with Bryce Perkins. He's going up against the Eagles as well. Eagles is a middle of the pack type of user, so we'll see. It's excuse me. It's pretty much a fair matchup, so we'll see exactly which way it goes. But Bryce Perkins is a good play this week, I think. You take a look at the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen going up against the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals are a tougher team. When I say tougher, I mean the user wise, it's not top tier. It's a easier matchup for the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, especially because the Buffalo Bills are more familiar with the game than the Cardinals. So Josh Allen, keep an eye out on him. I think he's going to be a solid play this week. He's been on fire all year, so he's got a good matchup. So it's definitely a good play this week. You take a look at my third quarterback. We got Baker Mayfield going up against the Tennessee Titans, who seem to be in full tank mode. Um, haven't played well all season. 32 ranked in the power rankings, and I don't think it's going to look any better anytime soon. So I think Baker Mayfield's going to have a really nice game here, going up against a user that's not, I don't think, is really trying his hardest. You take a look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, Leonard Fournette, who's my running back 1 for this week. I think he's going to have a really solid game against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore hasn't played his last 2 games, and the offense goes through Leonard Fournette in Jacksonville. He should be a play every week. I mean, I haven't seen one game where he was under 100 yards, and he seems to get 1 or 2 touchdowns a game. So I'm surprised I haven't locked onto this earlier. I might be playing him a lot more in my fantasy lineup week to week because he really rides Leonard Fournette to the ground, and it's ground and pound in Jacksonville. You take a look at the running back 2. I got Jonathan Taylor going up against my New Orleans Saints. I have him on the list because Ito Smith, the week before, absolutely tore us apart. Actually, it was not last week. It was a week before that. I played the Packers last week, but week 2 um, I played the sorry, I played the Atlanta Falcons, and Ito Smith absolutely tore me apart, over 250 yards for and 2 touchdowns. So If that's anything that shows what's going to happen this upcoming week against the Saints, I think Jonathan Taylor is a good pick. We'll see exactly what happens, but a very solid pick to roll with. Christian McCaffrey is my running back three. The Carolina Panthers, everything runs through Christian McCaffrey. When I say everything, every little thing. Leads the team in receptions, carries, yardage, whatever you want. Christian McCaffrey's the guy, touchdowns, everything. So I think he's got a really solid matchup against the Los Angeles Rams. And since everything goes through Christian McCaffrey, I think there's going to be a lot of points just for Christian McCaffrey. You take a look at my wide receiver one. I got Amari Cooper, the athletic wide receiver out of Dallas. He's going up against a lower end user in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Dallas Cowboys got a really good user over there. I think he's going to use Amari Cooper to his full ability, and I think that's going to be a solid matchup for the Dallas Cowboys and Amari Cooper, who has Dak Prescott throwing him the ball, and Dak is top five in the league in passing yards. So he definitely likes to air it out. So that's one matchup to look at. You got Juju Smith-Schuster up against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are coming off a tough loss. Hopefully morale's real low. I think the Steelers user could take advantage of them early at least. Juju is a good weapon for him. He likes to use them a lot. So if anybody's going to get points, it's Juju on that Pittsburgh Steelers offense. So I think that's going to be a good play this week. You got Antonio Brown out of Oakland against the New England Patriots. Two things: New England lets up a lot of points, and Oakland also lets up a lot of points. So this is going to be a heavy passing game, I think, from the Oakland side. Patriots like to run it a little more, but Oakland's going to air it out, and I think Antonio Brown's going to have a solid game. The passing game really goes through him. He likes to toss it up to him and use that X factor. So Antonio Brown's a good watch for this week. Then we got our tight end one. We got Dawson Knox up against the Arizona Cardinals. Kind of that matchup of Josh Allen, Dawson Knox. I think it's going to be a great tandem week to week, and this week especially with the user matchup. Like I said, he's got a favorite matchup, and I like the Dawson Knox play. You take a look at the second tight end, and I got Ian Thomas. When the Patriots do pass the ball, they seem to like to go to Ian Thomas, especially in the red zone. So I would take a look at him this week. Hopefully he gets 50 plus yards and a touchdown or two, especially against the Oakland Raiders defense that's been struggling. So it's a good play this week in my eyes. You take a look at my third tight end, and I got Evan Ingram, who was on the team of the week. I think he's waking Evan Ingram up out of his slumber. Rough couple of weeks to begin, but this week I think he's gonna continue his strides into being one of the best tight ends in the league, if not the best tight end in the league. And he's going up against the Redskins, so it is a tough play. That's kind of why I stood away from Daniel Jones and others, because the Redskins do have a solid defense and is a really solid user. So it should be a good matchup. But I'm gonna go with Evan Ingram. I think he's gonna hold up on this one. You take a look at my defenses. I got the Chicago Bears up against the Atlanta Falcons, kind of playing the Super Bowl rematch. This is the NFC Conference rematch, and if anything shows, if history repeats itself, the Chicago Bears are going to have a lot of turnovers and going to play a really good game defensively. It's kind of what happened last season. So I'm kind of going on that. History repeating itself. I think the Bears are going to be a good matchup. The Broncos against the Saints. The Saints' offense is probably one of the worst in the league. Shots at me. I really need to figure it out, but I got a lot of turnovers in the last couple of games. Not so bad in the Packers game last week, but against the Falcons, I had a bunch. I think I had 3 or 4, and he had 2 defensive touchdowns. So I could see the Broncos getting into an early lead and then forcing the Saints to throw downfield, and then that's when the interceptions happen, and that's when the game kind of goes away from the Saints, and that's when the defense takes over for the other side. So the Broncos, I think, is going to be a good pick. Last but not least, we got the New England Patriots against the Oakland Raiders. Not necessarily for the points. Like I said, they give up a lot of points, but the Oakland Raiders likes to air it out. He had 9 interceptions last week. I don't see it getting any better this week. Maybe the Patriots get a couple interceptions and return it for touchdowns. So I think it's going to be a really solid pick this week, especially against a interception-prone offense in Oakland. But that's pretty much going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you're interested in the Premier Madden League and hopefully, jumping into this fantasy stuff as well, go ahead to premiermadden.com. As you can see, I got Premier spelt on this slide, and then you got Madden. I mean, I don't know how to. If you don't know how to spell Madden, please don't apply. Is what I'm basically gonna say here. But premiermadden.com. We got an info bar. It says apply. Hit apply, and then go ahead and fill out the form and everything. We got a B League that you could join while you're on a waiting list. If something comes open and we really like you, you could be in the league next week. There's always openings here and there for inactive users. We're trying to make this a very not only immersive but very consistent league with 32 consistent users. We have a good base right now, and we're just improving. So if you're interested, premiermadden.com, go to apply and participate in the tournament and maybe join the B League. But that's pretty much going to do it for my video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I can't wait to do the next one next week.